Alright, welcome to the start of, yes, another anime review series. Don't worry, this is the second to last one before I go back to watching G-Bon. This one, I picked this one next because we have another season for this one coming out in October. And this one's called Campfire Cooking Another World with My Absurd Skill. Interview episode number 1. Quite an unusual anime, this one. Yes, as a cooking anime. Not the first one come across, but still. This one's a bit unique. So, it does have one thing common with another anime, basically, that I have seen. Actually, one I came up with this year. And that was, the daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world. You're probably thinking, what does this have in common? Simply for the fact that they have a character who has access to an online website. That's the big thing these two have in common. Except that this series, the main character does not have a love interest. Which, you're like, really? Why doesn't the main character have a love interest? No idea why. By the way, the lead series is voiced by Aaron Campbell. He basically, his name is Takeshi Makota, but apparently, that Dale mentions the anime, but in the manga, because I don't read the manga, I read the light novels for it, he basically had to use one name because only nobles have last names in this world, something the anime doesn't mention, but okay. They do reference the term anime in this thing, which is interesting. So, starts off with our lead character and 3 other people being summoned by pure randomness. Yes. So, by the way, our other characters are Sadokito, who in this season only appears in the opening episode and the penultimate episode. He is voiced by Eduardo Velasco. I think that's how he pronounces his last name. But he's summoned here with 2 beautiful girls. One, her name is Owen Conan, and she's voiced by Kelly Cruz. And the other girl might surprise you. She's voiced by Danny Chambers. Yep. Danny Chambers, which is the 17th anime I've basically watched her in. Yeah, and it's like they're summoned, and like, oh, you're a swordsman, you're this, you're that, and like, oh wait, there's a guy behind there. What's his skill? Online grocery. Yep, that's where the common name with this one. So, then of course, now this is quite interesting. Why they handle this. The manga was a bit different with this scene here, where they say, oh yeah, pledge to help the country. He's like, excuse me, I know I'm a summoned hero, but my skill is not useful for combat. I like to live a peaceful life. Can you give me some money? And the king just gives him money off screen, and you see him outside the castle door, which in the anime you already see him walking in the town. So apparently his suit was conspicuous, and his office briefcase. Yes, I actually have one of these things. I don't carry. I don't work at an office, but I do want to do these things. Since this is basically an office bag. By the way, he's 27. Their kids, their heroes, look like teenagers. As what they're summoned for, don't know. He apparently wanted to leave the country because the royalty lives in luxury. Also, the king is chubby. They apparently don't mention that in the anime. You can tell by looking at him, yeah, he is well off. As for what the heck the heroes need with, I don't know. And apparently, it's like everyone wants to leave the country because no one can stand the royalty. They hate the royalty because there's so much political turmoil. So it's like the population wants to leave the country. So he goes in a carriage in our town, but he can't exactly leave town the carriage because the carriage is suspended because They explain that if the population is decreasing, that means less taxes for soldiers. So money, of course. So after he gets his brand new clothing, which is like a green shirt and khaki pants and like a makeshift pouch that he carries around with him. So he goes to a tavern, presumably I think it's like a bar or something. So he's like, "Can I hire an escort here?" He's like, "Sure. That'll be 8 gold pieces." Of course it will be. So, and then we meet the adventure party, known as the Iron Will. Yes, that is the name of these people. And the members are... We have Warner, who is the leader of the group. Vincent, who is a swordsman. Rita, who is a scout. Pretty girl. Roman, a magician, which they apparently, actually... As soon as I heard his voice, I'm like, is that Chris Guerrero? Yeah, it is. It's Chris Guerrero voicing this guy. And there's also Franca, who apparently is a healer, but apparently hides her bust under a cloak. Now, who voices the characters? Obviously, of course, Chris Guerrero voices Roman. Vincent is voiced by, who is the dual swordsman. That's Alejandro Saab. Really? Yeah, and they only appear in these 2 episodes, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, as for why I feature off this, I have no idea. Warner is voiced by Tyson Reinhardt. Actually, because their job was done. They're briefly seen at the end of episode 2 after they leave them. Rita, the scout, was voiced by Kristen McGuire, who voices Francesca. Franca is voiced by Suzanne Dacama. That's who voices her. Yep. So, he's like, okay, so you escort me and I'll provide all the meals. Like, sure, no problem. And they make some food. Well, yeah, he makes some food for them, which they love it so much. And basically makes some sandwiches, which they love. Apparently, he hides the fact there's actually more things. And apparently, while eating the food from the other world, this apparently max out their stats. You're like, really? Eating food from another world max out stats? Yeah, I found that kind of interesting. I think it was like, ooh, I'm like so much lighter. I'm so much powerful, like, eating good food. Okay, interesting. Then, of course, I think when they... Then of course, they have to kill, like, these poison moths. By the way, he uses a propane stove. You know, with a turn little knob thing. I have used one of these things before. You're thinking, where have you used these before? I've actually gone camping before when I was in the Boy Scouts. Yes, I was in the Boy Scouts. Though the version they use here is different than the one I used. The one I used was, I'm sure some people may have seen this once when they're younger. This was green and size of a laptop. Not this one, a little bigger. You open it up, you pull the sides out, and there's 2 burners there. And of course, you have to light it with like a match or a clicker, basically like a lighter. And we also hooked the things up to propane tanks. Yes, propane tanks. Thus, now this is probably like a electric one, presumably, or at least like a wireless one. So he turns it on, cooks food. They love it. Then they kill a Red Bull, which to eat that. And this tracks section of a giant wolf known as a Fenrir, who is voiced by Jonah Scott, which I have seen this guy from a distance at Shogi Expo 3 years ago. And can you believe this guy has been voice acting since 2015? You're like, really? Yeah, he's been in JoJo's Adventure, One Punch Man, Attack on Titan. He's voice of Will Tiber. Jin and Eden Zero. Let's see. He is Charlotte Kalikuri for One Piece. You know, the guy as tall as his mom. Yep. The Misfit Demon King Academy is Edmund Dudgeon. Kadespel from Demon Slayer. He is the Kataboy Kuna from the new Rama Half series. And Taijima, a character in Taijima from My Hero Academia. They're like, wow, that's actually a pretty good amount of stuff there. As for why his earliest credit is One Punch Man, I have honestly no idea. Yeah. And he's like, feed me. And after eating so much meat, he's like, I would like to form a contract with you. And everyone's like, what? Yeah. He forms a contract because, like, okay, yeah, now you have to take care of me by feeding my food. He's like, okay, eventually eat up all the foods. Like, if you want me to cook food, go do some hunting. He's like, sure, no problem. And he brings back a B-rank monster. Like, good God Almighty! And they, of course, chop with the Avengers Guild, obviously. So it's very interesting for this one. So then they reach the border, which they meet a guy named Edgar. Oh, Edgar, I think his name is. And he's voiced by Chris Roger. Yep, great they hit this voice. Yep, and after vowing he's not going to harm anybody as long as he gets food, perfectly fine. Had to pay a toll to enter into the country, had to pay a toll to enter the town. So it's just register the Merchants Guild. And well, like either Merchants Guild or Adventurers Guild. Then he was suggested by Francesca, do both. You can sell the stuff, like your product, and you can cook. You can basically cook all the monster meat. Like win-win. You can earn a lot of money that way. So he brings Phil in. But he needs Phil. He brings him to the Merchants Guild. I was like, oh my God, it's the giant wolf! And they don't do anything. He just lies down, falls asleep, and they, of course, fill out paperwork out. He's an Iron One. And then eventually reaches the Adventurers Guild, which, by the way, the receptionist there, she is like, here, fill this paperwork out. And she's like, she acts like she's so bored. And if you're curious, was she like this in the manga? Oh, heck yes, she was. And after registering as a G rank, so they get like a herb quest, basically, and it also goes to Merchants Guild where he sells them salt and pepper, which he gets paid 17 gold pieces, which apparently that worth a lot of money, according to him, for Japanese currency. That is about 100,000 yen. Let's see how much gold coin could cost in US. Let's see. That would be I'm guessing about $800. Which, yeah, so he got paid in that, of course. And then the episode ends with him going on a herb quest. You're like, wow, that seems not unusual. Yeah, I mean, it's a first quest. Hunting for herbs, basically, he gets paid for it. And maybe hunt a monster while he's out there, too. Yep. And so far, really good here so far. Okay, so that is pretty much it for particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. As for how many more get on tonight, I don't know. I may not be able to get more than that because there was a stream planned for 8 o'clock, but because basically I co-host with, he got home late, so we had to push to 9 o'clock. Hopefully we get done pretty quickly. Hopefully, anyways. So, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.